Hey folks, Mark Tindall, glad to be with you for week 3 of our Leap of Faith adventure here, where we're trying to help each other grow in God as we move towards the cross and towards the Easter celebration of Jesus' resurrection. This season of time is used by Christians around the world and throughout time to really crunch in, to push in, like, let's go for more. Let's say no to some things so we can say yes to some other things. So I encourage you to be encouraging each other about reading the scripture, about praying big things, about praying for people who could really use Jesus, and about fasting, where we take our appetites and we say, you know what, let's develop an appetite for God. So we'll say no to something so we can say yes to God. That's what we're doing. Let's talk about the future here. I don't know about you, but it's hard to conceive of the future. I remember when I was a kid, they said that in the future there would be cars that were self-driving, and it seemed almost unbelievable. I remember pictures of the dad turned around playing cards with his kids, but no, those days are here now. There are self-driving cars, and it seems like there's going to be more. Don't try it yet. Probably your car doesn't self-drive. But what about the future? How do you feel? Some people about the future, they're very excited. Other people are kind of nervous. They're scared. They're kind of prone to worry about what might happen. Or other people sort of aimless, sort of zigzagging through time, So how about you? How about you? Are you just trying to lock down, stabilize, or are you pushing in? Do you factor God into your future? The scripture we're looking at today, Hebrews 11, verses 7 to 13, are all about the way God interacted with people and the way they interacted with him. 3 times this phrase comes up, and you always want to pay attention when something's repeated in the Bible. You want to pay attention. It says 3 times, by faith, by faith, by faith. These people responded to God. Noah, Abraham, Sarah, and then the last time is just all these people were living by faith. Each one is responding to God. There's some God verbs I want to give you. God warns Noah, and he calls Abraham, and he enables Sarah. So we're going to think a little bit about that. I want you to think about, well, what was God warning to Noah, and what was God's calling to Abraham? How did God enable Sarah to do what? And then, has this ever happened in your life where God is trying to warn you away from something? Or God's trying to call you to himself or to some great adventure, or to enable you to do something which naturally you couldn't do? And I think this is the way God is throughout history. And I think faith is that thing that says yes to what God is trying to say. That's the way it is. So what is faith? You could do a lot worse than just to look at Noah and Abraham and Sarah and look how they responded to God and say, there it is, that's faith. And that's kind of what the writer of Hebrews is doing there. He's saying, there it is, that's faith. These people believe, and it really changed their life. In fact, it says in verse 13, they became like strangers on this earth. They're like foreigners on this earth. They're living by a whole different set of marching orders. It's like they're listening to God. And it makes them different than the people around them, and it'll make you different than the people around you. Different like Noah building a giant boat in his backyard. Maybe he's twice as big as a 747. Or Sarah, somewhere in her 90s, pregnant. That's different. That's different than most people. And if God wanted to do something big with you like that, maybe he'd be able to. Or maybe you could grow to be the kind of person who would say yes to whatever he has to say. There's a huge impact, a saved family, a world that gets a brand new start, a family tree of people who goes way beyond, Abraham's literal family to be like all the people who believe big things when God says. And so I want to just ask you this question. At the end of the passage, it says this. It says, all these people were still living by faith when they died. Think about it. All these people, when they died, were still living by faith. And when you die, which is in the future, most probably for all of us, when you die, will people say that about you? This person lives by faith. When God warns, she backs away. When God calls, he comes close. When God invites them into a project, they operate by a power that's not their own. God's the one that enables them. Is that the story of your life? Or is there something you can do right now to change the trajectory of your life towards that? So that at the end they would say, she believed. He trusted God. He placed his faith in God. When they died, she was still living by faith. Well, I hope you have a good conversation. I'll see you again next week.